what you just said, because 90% of cosmetic surgery is by women. Women are trying to change as much as possible. Men don't want to change. They're not accountable for themselves. They think that because they're a man, you're gonna be attracted to them. No, like you can't be fat. You stay at home. You're just playing video games, and you expect a woman to want to fuck you. No, she's not gonna want to fuck you.
Yeah, but then she won't. This is the point. And then she won't, and society will teach them a lesson. They might be able to pull off a little blag with a girl for a year or so, but in general, they're going to end up lonely. In general, they're going to struggle to find partners. I agree with you with the cosmetic surgery thing. Women are happy to change their appearance and change how they look, but they're not happy to change how they act. Most of them, they're not happy to change. No, they're not.
The women are changing what the men don't care about. The men don't care about the big old lips.
Yes, they do.
And no, they do it. The women are doing that for themselves.
Yeah.
Because the men don't care about it. The men would rather a woman change her stinking attitude than put on all that makeup and hair and everything. That's what the men want. But the women will go out there like, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. If you look at a man and the man said, yeah, he's fat. The man will if he's feeling bad about himself, he wants to make something, he'll go and hit the gym. What's the woman going to do? Go and do? Get a BBL, get her lips done.
I'm going to let Auntie finish, but she's completely right. And I think girls misunderstand this a lot. You know, you walk into a club, you see the girl with the BBL, with the big lips, her makeup's all done up. They are the girls that the guy will take home and smash, 100%. But she is not the girl that's going home to meet mum. She's just not. And I think it does create a bit of a mix-up in a girl's head because they see those girls getting taken out all the time. But the reality of the situation is these are not the girls that are going to be the mother of our children. They're not the girls that are going to be sitting at the dinner table with mum. And getting a BBL done and getting your lips done, if you want to do that, that's up to you. It's not fixing any issues with you. All issues are internal, or at least the issues that matter are internal. You fix what's internal, then externally it will start to show itself. But a lot of these people that are getting these things, she's saying, oh, women try to fix themselves. That's not fixing yourself. You're making cosmetic changes to attract the opposite sex, and that is exactly what you're doing. All these people that said, oh, no, I do it for myself, don't just, come on, let's not be silly about this. You're putting yourself through that much pain for a BBL because you're just doing it for yourself. It's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous sentiment, and you're not fixing anything. For her to say, oh, we're fixing all these things and men are not fixing anything, Andrew Tate's right. There are definitely men out there that are not accountable. They sit indoors all day smoking weed, playing games. They don't do anything with themselves other than doing those things. And it's fine if you want to do that, but everything in moderation. There are plenty of guys out there that I know as well that are not going out there and getting tons of cosmetic surgeries, and they're figuring out that I need to go to the gym, I need to get my money up, I need to get my affairs in order, and then maybe someone will take me seriously. Do you think going and getting cosmetic surgery fixes anything?
No, but I think it's two different things here. So if somebody, like people fixing their image and fixing their internal issues or problems is two different things. I think people do get cosmetic surgery to look good, correct? And most of the time it is for the opposite gender, but not always. So for example, somebody might be really insecure about their nose and get a nose job. That's not necessarily done for the opposite gender. That's just done because of the way they feel about themselves personally.
Why do you think they're insecure though? What do you think's making them insecure?
I don't know. I think that's a whole different topic in itself. But I think...
Do you think?
Yeah. I think if you're getting BBL, then yeah, you're trying to go for this trend of looking a certain way. So men are going to like you and be more attracted to you. And do I agree with you in terms of that's not solving anything? You will get the attention, but it will be the wrong kind of attention.
So why is the nose different?
Because I think a nose really changes the whole structure of your whole face.
As in it makes it more attractive?
Just sometimes it's not even about just being more attractive. Sometimes your nose just might be really badly shaped and stuff, and I don't think there's anything wrong with changing that if it makes you feel insecure at anything you do in life.
No, but what I'm saying is that I know people that have had nose jobs because they have issues breathing.
Forget about the breathing part, not about that.
Just from a cosmetic standpoint, and just changing it because you don't like the way it's shaped. That insecurity comes from the fact that the opposite gender doesn't deem you as attractive because your nose is maybe not a particular shape they like. Yeah. That's where the insecurity comes from.
The opposite gender will always play a part in it, but it's not solely going to be for that. So I think, like, I'm just trying to compare different types of surgery here. That's what I'm saying. BBL might be solely for attracting the opposite gender.
Yeah, of course.
But something like getting a nose job, because they say you look good, you feel good. And you want to feel good on a day. So you don't want to walk around feeling insecure about what anybody's going to think, whether it's guys or girls or whatever. You just want to feel pretty, essentially. Do you know what I mean? For example, getting lips done, you might see a lot of guys that will say things like, I like a girl with nice lips, and then naturally if you've got small lips, you're going to think, well, I'm already not ticking those boxes. Or you might see men go for a lot of girls that have like bigger lips, so you might want to do it for that reason. Yes, it would play into the part of the opposite gender, but I think working on your image and the way you want to look is different from working on yourself internally. I do agree. Changing yourself physically is not changing any of the problems, but it's just two different things, and I don't think they should be discussed in one.
Do you think it's putting more of a band-aid on the problem? Like it's putting a plaster over the problem? Because where, like, for example, I'm not going to lie to you, when I was younger and I was overweight, I was insecure, and that was because of how girls looked at me. And that was when I was younger. Obviously, as I've gotten older, like we've just had Christmas, everyone's eating a shit ton of food, everyone's put on weight. Like I don't care personally. Like my stance on that has changed, and I know going to the gym is now something that I do for me. Obviously, there's areas of going to the gym that benefit me with women 100%, but I think with this, specifically with what this girl is saying, how she's saying women fix their issues and men don't, I don't think getting cosmetic surgery really fixes any issue.
That's not ever going to fix anything, because it's two different things. That's the way I look at it. And if a guy was to get up and go to the gym, do I think that could be fixing any internal issues as well? Not necessarily. I mean, it could do with the fact that he's
There's a sense
making
of
himself a bit more. They say when you go to the gym, you're making yourself a bit more mentally fit and stuff, which I can understand. But if it's overall just to change his image, then no, it's the same thing as like not just anything to do with changing your image. No, it's not fixing the problem. I agree.
I think gym is slightly different, because there's a couple of things that go into gym if you're taking it seriously. Gym takes a mental toll on you, right? Because it's not just going to the gym. Anybody that's been going to the gym for any number of time will tell you the hardest thing about going to the gym is actually getting up and going to the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to the gym and doing the diet, picking up weights and putting them down, running on a treadmill. That's easy. That's just repetition. You just got to be consistent. The hard part is waking up at 5, 6 in the morning before everyone else, going a bit later to the gym, and making sure you're diet at some point.
The diet is the hard part as well. Yeah,
and that does help with your mentality, because it teaches you discipline. You will learn nothing from getting a nose job or getting a BBL. Now, I'm not shaming girls for getting nose jobs. I'm not shaming girls for getting BBLs. If you want to do that, go right ahead. I don't even necessarily have a problem with it, but I can also identify that it doesn't fix anything. And just because guys are going for you in the club does not mean they actually want you. They want you momentarily. It's a temporary fix. Because when you look at a BBL, you're like, holy shit. Of course, guys are very visual creatures. They're going to want to have some fun with that. But they're not taking you home to mum. They're just not. There's a very small number of those people, and that usually tends to be celebrities, because they're all doing crazy shit. But the everyday person, that's not what I see. That's not my experience anyway. Maybe that's not the truth of the matter, but that's not something that I've ever observed.
Get her lips done, put on her makeup, put on her hair, and stay the big old fat person that she is, and say, oh, it's body positivity. The men don't even want that. And the women are not getting all this cosmetic surgery for the men. They're getting it for themselves. You can't turn around. What man wants a woman that's going to turn around, go and have an operation, and can't sit on a plane because her ass has been injected or been interfered with? She got to lie there on her stomach. Do you think the men want that? Or wake up in the morning before you got to hit the house, she's got to put on. I'm sure I worried about some of the men, because they must go out with a woman. Ooh. And then when they wake up in the morning, they think, who the hell is she?
The scars,
by the time you
catfish.
take everything off, women need to change their attitudes before they change their makeup. I'm sure that even more than that, change your attitude. Because women will go out there and they would want to change this, they want to change that. All the things that don't count. If you learn to, the same way how women can go out there and learn to put makeup on, learn to cook. Learn to wash by hand. Learn to please a man.
That is so outdated,
That's what you need to do.
That's outdated, girl.
Yeah,
Well, what
it's
do you
facts.
think about that? It's facts, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It's true. I'm not saying that like a man can't help you out in the kitchen every now and then. I'm not saying that at all. That's their prerogative. Personally, I don't like cooking. I hate cooking. I'll help you do everything else, but cooking, that's I just don't want to do it. I'll rather order in, go to a healthy place and eat or whatever. But touching on what she's saying about fixing up your attitude, one thing I've noticed about girls, I don't know if this is something that you only see online. You can tell me if this is true. Maybe you can speak on like your friends, something you've heard from them. One thing I've heard about girls is that he should love me the way I am, or I'm a 10. I always hear that shit. A guy says to him, what would you rate yourself out of 10? I'm a 10. And this girl is obviously not a 10. And then when they ask guys, the guy will be like, oh, maybe a 5, maybe a 4. Like you get a much more realistic answer. What is that? I don't understand. Like he should love me the way I am. But what if you have things to work on? I'm not saying that you get into a relationship and you try to fix everything about that person, because then why did you even bother getting with them? But we're all flawed. And what it seems to me is that there's a complete lack of accountability and complete denial of reality. For you to call yourself a 10, you're saying that you're perfect. A young girl calling herself 10 means that for the rest of your life, there's no room for improvement. There's nothing you can do to make yourself better. You've reached the pinnacle. Either they don't understand what perfect means, and so they don't understand why they're even giving themselves 10s, or they're so disillusioned to what's going on around them, or so up themselves that they would rate themselves 10 and say, he should just accept me how I am. I mean, there's aspects of your personality that can be great, and then there's something that your partner can discover and be like, what the hell is that? And if you love and care about them and you have a discussion about it, you're going to fix up. We all do it. All of us are flawed, and some of us continue to make the same mistakes, but as long as we're aware and we're making changes towards it, I can work with that. But if you keep doing the same shit over and over again and still considering yourself a 10, taking no accountability, why would anybody want to be anywhere near you?
I think a lot of women do it as a way of trying to boost their confidence, because maybe deep down they're not so confident in who they are.
So they lie to themselves.
Yeah, essentially it's like sometimes the way you show yourself off to other people is how they're going to perceive you. So if you walk around feeling really insecure and put yourself down and you're not good enough, then people are going to view you as not good enough because you don't believe in yourself. So I think it comes from more of a way of just boosting your confidence that I am good enough. And I do agree that people should accept you for what you are, but I do also agree with humans taking accountability and always looking to improve themselves where necessary, because it's true, not everybody is, there's always room for improvement. I could state 10 flaws that I might have right now that I'm not blind to, that I know I need to work on, and I'm not going to sit here and go, there's nothing wrong with me. People should accept me for how I am, because no, sometimes I might be in the wrong.
Yeah, and it's good to be like that. Being accountable is an attractive thing, because if you're dealing with somebody that thinks they know everything, you don't want to talk to someone like that. It's exhausting to talk to somebody like that. And I know, like, I might someone might be watching this going, oh, Mike, you're so stubborn, you don't listen. It's not that I don't listen. We have conversations. I listen to you all the time. It's just that you have to give me a compelling reason to move on my stance. But I will never sit here and pretend that I think I'm a 10. I don't even think that I'm close to a 10. I think I've got loads of areas for improvement.
Yeah. I mean, people tell me all the time that I'm a very bad listener. And I can agree, I can hold my hands up. And I know I need to work on it, and it is something I am working on.
That's good. If you're aware of something that you're doing wrong, or there's something that you need to work on, that's great.
Last video, I cut you off, then I said, actually, wait, I'm going to let you finish.
Yeah, yes,
that's
you did.
Progression.
You did. Were you taking any feedback on from comment sections?
No, like, just people have, before that video as well, like, people have always told me before, like, you don't listen, you don't let people speak. And I know that is an issue, but I have this problem where I don't like being misunderstood. So when people start talking from what they're initially saying, and I can see they're not understanding what I'm saying, I have to keep going until they understand what I'm saying. But sometimes I should just listen to people, and then listen to understand, don't listen to respond.
That's good. That's a good mentality to have.
That's what you need to do.
That's how date a girl.
She said,
right.
girl.
That's how date is.
She's right.
For who?
I'm saying it's like we had literally just talked about this off camera when you guys picked me up from the airport, when we were talking about what's the value system or the point system for a woman who cooks versus a woman who can suck good dick and fuck well.
But you can cook and suck dick as well.
No, but I'm saying is that Pearl, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but quoting her was that when she interviewed people on the street, that there was more points given to something for like a sexual return as opposed to, wash dishes by hand. There's a dishwasher. No. Why cook? We can eat out. There's a chef. People they don't give a fuck about that.
That's what they think.
But but we literally.
Let me just say this now, and I'll tell you why she's so wrong. There's nothing better than having a home cooked meal made with some love. Okay, it's going out for meals is great and everything, but you wake up and your girl's made you some food. There's no greater feeling.
There is a lot of men out there who do want a woman who is, who can cook, who does clean, who can run a household, basically. It's quite old school, I think. I've also had conversations with men, that's been brought to my knowledge, that there's a lot of men who are not so bothered about what a woman has, what she does, if they've got it all themselves. Like if they're a successful man who's got enough money to do whatever they want, what they really want is just a woman who looks good, because
Well, as a life partner.
essentially, yeah, because they don't really need a woman to bring anything to the table because they've already got everything.
You're talking about highly successful men,
Yeah.
though, and we're talking about the average Joe.
Let's say
I would still
a
say,
well-off man, a man who's got his shit together.
when you say well off, what do you mean? Is he rich? Or is
No,
he just he's
not rich.
financially
He's
stable?
financially stable.
Yeah, I would say he would want someone that is going to be there in a conventional sense, like a wife would be.
Yeah, someone who can run a household, but also they do want someone who looks good.
Oh, 100%.
So there we go. So then girls getting cosmetic surgery to look good is because
No. I'm telling you now, yeah.
men
don't-
want someone who looks good.
Yeah, but that shit wears off. The novelty of the cosmetic surgery is not, the appeal does not remain in
No, I
most
know.
cases. If it's very subtle things, you know, like I know girls that have had nose jobs. I know girls that have had breast augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't had implants. They've just had them augmented, so they don't hang too low or they sit
Mm-hmm.
in a certain position. Those things are possible, but it's the ones that are getting BBLs and they're going too far and putting their health at risk and all this shit. And like I said, I ain't got no problem with a BBL. I'm just saying that BBLs are dangerous, and I don't think that you should be putting your health at risk for them, for anybody, including yourself. If there's a surgery that means that you can't sit down properly for the rest of your days, or you're gonna have issues for the rest of your days, I don't think you should be getting it. But if you want to get it, that's up to you. But I'm telling you now, there's nothing better than a woman that, you know, you come home from a stressful day of work, provided she has not been working as well. I'm not going to be like arrogant to say my girl has been out working. She should also be at home making me the food. If we're both tired, we'll just order it. But there is no nicer feeling than waking up and someone's made you some food. And I'm not saying that men are being asked to be mummied by their girlfriends, but I am saying that where girls might find it nice that a man will be like, look, I'm booking us a trip to go to
Yeah.
Cyprus. We're gonna go here. A man, I would say men are more simple than women. And if you make us a nice sandwich in the morning and you don't give us a headache by the afternoon, the day's made.
I think it's just the concept of knowing that somebody can look after you in life.
Yeah.
And some girls might find that if a man is financially stable, that he can look after her, and a man might find that if a woman can cook and clean, she can look after him,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, the cleaning thing for
Yeah.
me personally, like I don't mind helping out in cleaning. It doesn't bother me very much. You know, if she's cooked me a nice meal, I'm very happy to wash up. Doesn't bother me at all. I don't like cooking. That's not my thing. I'm much happier to take you out to eat or order in some healthy takeaway or whatever. If you want me to order you takeaway, I'll order you takeaway. That's fine, no problem, and I'll clean up afterward. And as long as if I've got a girl that cooks, there's not too much else that she can do wrong other than, you know, things to drive me mad or whatever. Most guys will prefer a girl that does those traditional things. If they were talking about a long-term life partner, is she good at giving head or is she good at cooking? I think most people are going to choose cooking, because if you're with someone for a long time, she's going to get better at pleasing you because she's going to understand the things that you want. You can talk her through it. Don't use too much teeth. Don't do that. Don't do this. And eventually she's going to get it. You train people to meet your sexual desires, right? When you jump into bed with someone for the first time, sometimes you're not compatible. And even though you really like them, you didn't gel very well. And then you do it a few more times. You're like, oh, okay, they kind of like being choked. They kind of like having their hair pulled. They kind of like me being gentle with them. They like me doing this, that, and the other. And, you know, you grow together that way. But if she can't cook, we got a problem. Me personally, I got a problem. I don't like that. Like, that's just not something that I'm willing to put up with. Like, there's things that I think that women shouldn't put up with either. Everyone has their standards. If the man's not making as much money as you want, if he's not providing something that you want, you're well within your right to say, I'm not for that. I know some girls have ridiculous standards. Like, I watched a video where they were like, if my man's not making 500K a year, he ain't for me. Those are dumb things. I'm talking about things within reason. If she's out working till late, I don't expect her to make me a meal. That's not what I'm saying. But if she's indoors every single day, and I'm out working every day, I do expect a meal at the very least. And no one wants to come home where their wife's been at home all day. Granted, if you've got kids and she's looking after them, I get it, she'd probably be tired as well. But nobody wants to come home after a long day and not have food ready for them. I'm sure the woman wouldn't as well. If the guy was at home all the time,
Yeah.
the girl's out working, I'm sure she'd feel the same. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about that, man.
Yeah.
Just all these people that girl's points about fixing what's outside and not inside, and she thinks women are fixing things by doing that, and that men don't take accountability. That was a dumb point. I'm glad Auntie put her in her place.